Bola's gonna give us the talk today. So I hope you guys enjoy the talk. Please listen attentively and pay attention with what he's saying. And if you have questions, you can ask him either in the middle of the talk or at the end. Okay? Until he comes in, we already agreed that if the team answers the questions, they get to reveal a picture. And if they didn't, they still get to reveal a picture. Since you guys didn't have the chance to open a picture, I'm gonna show a picture right now. You gotta answer. But there's no point though. There is no point. Okay? So team 2, go for it. Oh, you can see it? Are you disconnected? Oh, okay. Can you connect it again? Is it ready? Okay, go ahead. Ooh. Okay, go for it. 12. 13. Nice job. سمان الخراز. Guys, I had so much pictures for you guys today, and it was very hard. Yeah, we can do another one for everyone. Okay? So let's try on this, because I'm pretty sure you guys might know it or might not. 11? Ah. 4? 13. You got one more box. One more box. Eh? Amber Waste. Nice job. Okay, this one. 12. This is my sound. That might seem easy. 13. Come on, guys. ايه؟ انت ايه كدسة دميانة معلقة معاك يا بنتي؟ 14. Maximus with Matthews. Nice job. Okay, let's see this one. يا ما هنخلصهم كلهم النهارده. 12. 5. كدسة دميانة. 21. Guys, this is so easy. Eh? Raphael. No, it's not. It's Archangel Michael. Okay. Let's see this one. This one is actually the hardest one that I wanted you guys to do it. 20? 19? This is the hardest one, by the way. You got 5 boxes, guys. Use it wise. 13. 12. You got one more box to open. 29? That's it. So give it a guess. St. Mark? Not really St. Mark. It's Saint Joseph. Yusuf al-Nagar. Saint Joseph.
If you guys don't mind, can y'all come up? I didn't. Sorry. Just by a show of hands, who went to the Abbey trip? Just one person? Who went to the Abbey trip? Yeah. Can you raise your hands high if you went with them to the monastery? The Abbey. The Abbey in Texas. Okay. Okay. All right. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, one God, amen. Just a heads up, today's topic is going to be very heavy. I apologize. There's no way around it. If you need to tune me out, if you need to step out, please make yourself comfortable to do so. Okay? I'll do my best to get you guys out of here shortly. As shortly as possible. Okay. So we're going to talk about shame. Everybody's heard of it. Okay? We all have it. Can you guys hear me well without? No? All right. At some point, we go through it, we experience it for various different reasons. Okay? What shame is and isn't is very important. It's not a feeling. It's not a feeling. It's not an emotion. It's a state of belief. It's a core belief about my identity. Okay? Having shame means that I have a certain belief about who I am or who I am not. Does that make sense? Not just about the emotion. Fill in the blank as you wish. We live in a country, statistically speaking, we have some of the highest levels of shame. And there's a huge correlation between shame and the actions that take place afterwards because of that. Shame comes in and tells me I am not enough. It tells me I am either fill in the blank, not attractive enough, not pretty enough, not smart enough, not intelligent enough, not spiritual enough, not holy enough. Fill it in however it is, whatever you feel. At everybody's life, at some point or another, you've had this experience. This is one of the things of common humanity. One of the things that we all go through. At some point, you are going to feel like, I am not enough. Shame is like this little, you guys know the angel on the one side and the devil on the other side? It's that little devil on the other side that whispers to you, I'm not enough. You're not good enough. Constantly. It's a lot longer. And so when I'm around others, Let's say we have a church event. Let's keep it close to home. Before I get into the parking lot, if I'm a female, I'm constantly checking the mirror. Okay, is my hair good enough? Is my makeup on point? Is my dress look good? Worried about how I will look. My perception. If I'm at school, professors passing out grades, giving out grades, did I do well enough? Did I study enough? That constant nagging or doubts. Say before an exam, before you go into a test. You could have studied for weeks, but is this constant nagging, I'm going to fail, I'm going to fail. I know I'm not going to do well. That is shame. And it keeps you from living your life, from living life to the fullest. Shame is always going to be rooted in trauma. We have two types of traumas. Big T, capital T, major losses, parents going through a divorce, war, car accidents, rape, abuse. And then we have lowercase t, everyday life. We're going to get really counseling. E. Erik Erikson, one of Freud's students, he comes up with this idea that we have different stages in life. And at every stage, there's something that we're trying to achieve. Shame comes here. Your second stage, 3 to 5 years old. That's when you start. Prior to that, at 2 years old, you are very narcissistic, and it's a good thing. It's okay. You ever tell a 2-year-old no? They could care less. If they want to hit you and you tell them no, you're going to get hit. They're very egocentric. That's the way God created them. The world revolves around them. And that's okay. You get to 3 years old, and you get to this interesting stage called autonomy versus shame. I start to try things on my own. Okay? I give the example constantly. Imagine a 3-year-old or 4-year-old kid, and you're the parent. You walk in, he's drawing all over the wall with Sharpies. What do you do? I want actual answers. What are you going to do? Nardine says, take the Sharpie away. Give him paper. More. Okay. What else? Huh? And that's how you get a divorce. What else? Actually, your answers are spot on. Give him a piece of paper. Here you go. I love what you're doing, but let's do it in the right place. All right? How many of us had parents like that, though? There's ideal answers. Wow. Impressive. There's ideal answers, and then what usually happens. So when the child learns, crap, I messed up, they get yelled at. They broke something. They were playing in the house with the ball. They broke something, you start yelling at them. They get these messages, I'm a mistake. I'm not good enough. And we have a hard time for them discerning that they are the problem versus their actions. As a kid, you don't expect them to know that. Every child subconsciously asks, am I lovable? You did it. I did it. We all did it. Am I lovable? This is the defining question for them, whether they know it or not. Am I lovable? And of course, if I am lovable, what does it take to be lovable? Is it to be extra nice? And I learned that I need to people please? Is it to go out of my way for others? And I learn to sacrifice and have. Is it by being funny and I learn to act like a clown? What will it take for people to like me? That is the constant question that comes up. Why? Because we are made in the image and likeness of God. And God is a Trinity. And so part of that Trinity means he is social. He has connection. You also are wired to need connection. Need is the key word. You isolate yourself for a while, that loneliness becomes like torment. During COVID, we see a huge rise in domestic violence, in overdoses, homicides, assaults. You have an innate need for connection. So does every child. And so how can I connect? So for kids to ask this question, am I lovable? They start to look around in their mirrors. The same way you and I would look in the mirror and we say, okay, how did I look today? They would look to their mirrors to ask, am I lovable? The mirrors being your parents. So if we want to know who we are on the outside, we use mirrors. When we want to know our worth, we look at the mirrors around us. As a child, you look at the reflections you're getting from your parents, the responses. So how those mirrors treat them, respond to them, or what they say to them is going to determine the child's sense of self and their trauma. In a healthy home, you get positive messages. The child feels loved, connected, a part of the family, valued, and nurtured. Unconditionally loved. It's not, oh, I did something good. Mama and Baba are happy with me. Oh, I messed up. Now they're angry. Oh, Mama and Baba got in a fight today, so they decided to yell at me. They had a short temper. Oh, Mom and Dad are in a good mood today, so now they're being lovey-dovey. Oh, Dad got a promotion. He's taking us out. Oh, Dad got in trouble at work. He came home yelling at us. And then you have more extreme cases. Oh, Dad is sober. He's nice to us. Oh, Dad is intoxicated. He's drunk. He's beating us again. And so in this healthy home, you have unconditional love. And that teaches you, your mirror gives you a positive self-identity. Okay? So what about an unhealthy home? This is a very long and exhausting list. It's going to trigger you guys. I apologize in advance. We can do a meditation afterwards and de-stress. Okay? Let's say you come up to your parents and you tell them something. Your older siblings. You give them your opinion. And you're a kid. Your opinions usually don't make sense. Right? Instead of entertaining, they just laugh at it or walk away. What's the message that you get? My opinion is not valued. You're being teased, made fun of. Usually physical appearance. They have pet names, silly names. You justify to yourself, oh, they're just laughing and joking. But the stuff sticks with you. I'll give you this very famous example, very interesting example that Tasuni Anna gave us. She was dealing with a case where the person was homosexual. And they were going through their treatments. And you have to get to the root. What caused it? Where did all this start? So the guy breaks down and he's like, when I was 12, I took my cousin to the bathroom. My little cousin. He was 7 at the time. My aunt told me, take him. I took him. I'm in the bathroom stall helping him. He's using the bathroom. A servant walks in and the door happens to open at that time. And the servant grabs me by the shirt in the middle of the church, yanks me out, starts calling me gay, inappropriate things. How can you be doing this in church? This is the house of God. What is wrong with you? And it stuck with him. He created an internal critic, and we'll go over that in a little bit, to the point that it triggered a response for him to end up being homosexual. The constant message was, I am gay. I am gay. Everywhere he went in church, he was ostracized. Oh, you don't hang out with him, he's gay. And it was something that he constantly got. You have no idea how powerful your subconscious is. And we define homosexuality within counseling as 2 different ways. One is a lifestyle, and the other one is by actions. I can go through the actions and not be homosexual. And for him, that was the case. He wasn't fully homosexual, but it was a struggle for him, nonetheless. Belittling. Your child makes a mistake. We make a mistake. We get a bad grade. The constant teasing. Making fun of them. Us. زي الليتو. So useless, so lazy. عمرك ما تعملي حاجة في حياتك. ده منظر ده تروحي بيه الكنيسة. So on and so forth. Nothing you ever did was up to par. You come home with a report card, all A's, 1 B. Why did you get a B? But Mom, I got 7 A's. Yeah, that's great. What about this B? Why did you get this B? Are you not eating? Are you not sleeping? Do we not have a room for you? Do we not have a bed for you? Do we not provide you with clothes? Do you not have everything you need? Are you missing an arm? Are you missing a leg? And it's like, okay, let me discredit everything they did and focus on this one thing. So we get this message, I am not enough. What I do is not enough. I remember I was one of my pre-servants. We were just hanging out in the parking lot, talking. I'll never forget what he said. We're just like, mentorship, whatever. And he's like this type that's really wild. But you can tell it's a facade. The kid was actually very smart. He just didn't like to show it. And so we're making progress, and I'm like, explain to me why. Why are you doing all these things? And he gets really angry. And finally he explodes. He's like, why do you care? My parents don't even care. My parents don't care. Why do you care? I'm like, you make a good point. A couple weeks earlier, he had caught his dad cheating on his mom. And so you can imagine the effect that had on him. We're constantly compared. Why aren't you like your cousin? ما تخليك زي أخوك. ما تخليكي زي أختك. شايف صاحبك? You see your friends? Is the constant comparison. Because no matter what you do, it's not enough. Blamed for parents' problems. What does that mean? Mom and dad have a fight because they have an unhealthy relationship. And they take it out on you. Oh, you did a problem, you caused an issue, you're disciplined, and then they end up in a fight. Look what you caused. And so you're constantly scapegoated. I have a client who, her mother was a real people pleaser, and she became the same way. And we were doing the history for her mom. So her grandma was like this huge narcissist and really hated her mom. Can you imagine that? Like the mother hates the daughter. Okay? I'm like, why? And we finally get to it. Until her mom was born, the grandmother was the only woman in her husband's life. And so when the daughter was born, the client's mom, she took that attention away from her. And so the mom ended up hating the daughter for it and blamed her. And this becomes generational trauma. Not only her mom's trauma, her mom was traumatized, and then it was passed on to her. You're not allowed to express emotions. Hey, but why are you acting this way? How dare you raise your voice? Why are you angry? How dare you get upset? You should be grateful. Rather than, oh, okay, you seem really upset. What's bothering you? Let's talk about this. Is something bothering you at school? Something going on with your friends? No. Instead, it's, oh, you're acting this way, therefore, you are a problem. And so you start to shut off your emotions. I think within the church, especially, we have a really bad context around anger. It's like we're never supposed to be angry. That's not biblical. Even the Bible tells us, be angry, but do not sin. You can be angry, but what you do after is very important. No discipline or spoiled, no boundaries. Why would this cause trauma if somebody was spoiled? Any idea? Sure. So these are a list of things that cause trauma. Why would being spoiled cause someone trauma? Uh-huh. Good job. You're both spot on. You use money. My parents buy my love. It's very famous. We have it in American culture more. When the parents go through the divorce, and the father does not know how to express his emotions, and so what does he do? He buys his love. Well, at least I have an income, so I can buy gifts for the kids. But then the kids come back, keep your gifts. I'd rather have you. Does that make sense? Actually, this is the toughest one. No discipline, being spoiled in boundaries, poor boundaries. This is the toughest one to fix in counseling. It's very hard because you raise a narcissist. Anybody know what a psychopath or a sociopath is? Psychopaths and sociopaths are not born. They are made. Meaning the effects of such things end up causing that. Neglect, emotionally unavailable due to work, own problems, illness, divorce, and so the child is unable to connect with parents. If you're all of these end up being neglect. So emotionally unavailable. Yes, I will take care of your physical needs. I will buy you clothes, but your emotional needs go to the other parent. And then the other parent is busy or cannot. The parents are obsessed with their own world. They have their own problems going on. And so they don't have time for us. And so that sends a message of, I am not important. Illness. There's a statistic behind parents, especially mothers, that have depression, schizophrenia, or bipolar. The effects that it has on the children. It's very significant. There's a correlation. So if you grew up with a parent who has specific illnesses, as a child, you could unintentionally feel like you are ignored or your needs are not met. Another one that's kind of subtle, that can be traumatizing, your family is all about image. We live in a culture that's very shame-filled. It works off of shame. So in the house, we'll yell, be angry, scream. But outside of the house at church, hair needs to be done, makeup needs to be on point, your tie, you get your suit, everything done in a very specific image. But so what happens at home, that's okay. And so you get this idea, okay, my parents only care about the image that we put in front of. They don't actually care about us. Not validated. The fear that your child will end up being prideful or egotistical. We have the same problem in our spiritual lives. Instead of giving someone a compliment, you say nothing. Everybody needs validation. You need to know that you're doing something good. Encouragement. It's huge. You can completely change somebody's life just by encouragement. Then, of course, abuse. Verbal abuse. Constantly tearing them down. Physical abuse. Emotional abuse. And this is the loudest message we get, that something is wrong with us. Because if my caretakers, the ones who are supposed to love me the most, are willing to abuse me, what does that say about how valuable I am to people that aren't close to me, to the outside world? And then this is the loudest, abandonment. Those who are put up for adoption, foster parents. What is that message that's sent to the kid? You're not wanted. Spot on. Before I left today, the clinic, my last session was a new guy. Never met him before. And we were doing his intake. Super wealthy guy. Loaded. Beautiful wife. Great kids. He has it all. And yet, the amount of times he's tried to commit suicide. So I'm sitting there, okay, let's explore a little bit. What was your childhood like? He was like, it was wonderful. I'm sure there's a lot of trauma, but I don't think it affected me much. Okay, what was your relationship with your parents? Well, my dad divorced my mom and left us when I was 2. Okay. And 11, I ran away from the house to go live with my grandparents because my mom was a drug addict. Okay. Absolutely abandoned. Now he comes in and he owns a huge company. And I'm like, let me guess, you have a hard time trusting your employees. He's like, yeah, I do. I was like, okay. Do you always feel like they're slacking? He was like, yeah, they are. I was like, yeah, I'm sure they're lazy. He's like, yes, they are. And it's because they want to take shortcuts and they're deceitful. He's like, absolutely. And they're completely dishonest and they will take advantage of you every chance they get. How did you know? I was like, okay, you're definitely not traumatized. No. Yeah, absolutely perfect. It carries on. He was abandoned. And so this message of trust, Go back to the 8 stages that we talked about earlier. He has what's called an avoidant attachment. And with avoidant attachment, you don't trust others. So you distance. You doubt their intentions. Conditional love, it changes day by day. Some days, mom and dad are so loving and kind. Next day, they're under stress. And they are avoidant. And they're not talking to us. Next day, hey, let's go out. And mom makes your favorite meal. The day after, completely occupied with the phone calls and her friends. And you're just left there to tend for yourself. The day after, back and forth, back and forth. Shame-based parenting. I hate the word haram. Haram. I hate that word. Don't do this, haram. Don't do that, haram. It's like a shortcut because they're too lazy to parent. Okay, explain it to me. Take the time to explain it to them instead of using whatever it is, religious beliefs, shame, spiritual lining. Take the time to explain. And so with the shame-based parenting, okay, good example. You can wear a bikini if we're on vacation because nobody's around. But if we ever go to the pool and your family's around or your relatives, no. Astaghfirullah. It's shame-based. It's like a double standard. Our parents' value system. Another story I had, so their value system meaning what they value. And so say your parents are alcoholics, right? They are going to value that more than you. They're going to value their addiction. And so I have this guy, also saw today, and he hates alcohol. Not particularly spiritual or any of that. I'm like, why do you hate it so much? When I was 10, I was sitting in the living room playing my computer. Dad came from a long day of work. As always, first thing he does, he goes into the kitchen, grabs his alcohol, starts drinking, grabbed a plate of spaghetti, is on the way to go sit down and eat, trips on the carpet, spills the beer on me. The glass ends up hitting my head and spills the spaghetti on the floor. And he falls. First thing he does when he gets up, looks around. I need another bottle. Goes to get a refill. I was like, how did that feel? I was like, it felt horrible. I was secondary to some fluid. He didn't care that he hurt me. He didn't care that he spilled it on me. He didn't care about any of the things he did. He just cared that he got a refill. So their value system. Another famous one is like their cars. Mom got a new car, she's obsessed with the car. I can't even get in the car. You can't eat in the car. You can't drink in the car. You can't sleep in the car. You can't breathe in the car. The car is more important than you. That's the message that it sends. Mom got new furniture in the house. Okay, this living room is for guests. If you sit on it, you will die. This living room is for you peasants. You go here. And it's, okay, what is it that they actually value? Fathers are famous for being workaholics. I value earning, making an income more than you. And if you ask them why you work so much, oh, it's so I can provide you with a better life. What if that better life simply meant having you around? No, you don't know what you're talking about. Being poor can make you feel like you're not enough. When your friends are getting all these new phones, new clothing, and you're stuck there feeling like less than because you can't afford these things. Coming from a minority background, we're automatically all traumatized. Congratulations. Minority background. You have a different value system, a different belief, and people don't understand that. And it's constantly questioned, and you feel like an outsider. Here's a really cool fact about bedwetting. 10% of kids will wet the beds, even after appropriate ages. And so we know, statistically speaking, those kids, when they grow up, have a 100% higher chance of developing an addiction. Why? Because bedwetting, one of those, is constantly what? Shamed. Looked down upon. And they carry this shame with them throughout their childhood and into adulthood. We know complex trauma, the more severe the trauma, the greater your list of addictions. The more severe the trauma, the more negative beliefs you're going to have about yourself. The more the negative beliefs, the less you're going to feel, and the more down you're going to feel. The more down you feel, the more you feel like you have to do something about it. What is that going to be? And for everybody, it's different. These are all the parental mirrors. These are all the ways that your parents can end up mirroring this belief that you're not enough. So what about outside? Did you guys know? Do you know where Fiji is? Does anybody know Fiji? Fiji, the water, yeah. Do you know where that is? Huh? Uh-huh. Okay. So the Fiji water comes from Fiji. Not anymore. It used to. Fiji became too expensive for them. So now it's just called Fiji. So Fiji is actually an island. It was very isolated up until that point when the water company came in. And when they came in, they brought TV, all of these modern things. And before that, what was attractive in Fiji was that you were of the bigger size. For women to be bigger sizes, to be large. Once TV came into play, within 3 months, they had an epidemic with anorexia, eating disorders, body dysmorphia, body image dysmorphia, based on what they were seeing on TV. Why are all these women slender and we're not? But they're slender and they're happy. And I see all these people that are happy and they have money, and it's tied to the image. So one of the mirrors is going to be society. It's going to talk about beauty, how you look. You know when they choose models for magazines, there's a reason they pick abnormally tall people. Because it's a standard that's atypical. The average height in the US for women is like 5'5", 5'4". But yet models are above 6 feet. Why? Because you'll never be able to reach that. Pun intended. And so you'll always feel like you're not enough. And if I'm constantly feeling like I'm not enough, I'm constantly buying their products. Because this will help make you enough. If you ever look at a women's magazine, half of it is dedicated to talking about how you are enough, and then the other half is dedicated to making you feel like you're not enough, selling your products. It's great marketing. And then we get the idea about money. The people that have money and possessions, those are the ones that are happy. The ones that are talented, actors, sports players, singers, they seem to be happy. And then those who are extremely intelligent. Any questions so far? No questions? Anybody? No? Okay, cool. What are the effects of shame? So all of this is shaming. These are all different ways that you get shamed. What are the effects of shame? Physical pain. Fear. Constantly being afraid to be around people, to be judged. Anxiety. Worry. Obviously, insecurity. Depression. Self-hatred. Rumination, which is this constant telling your voice, or voice that constantly tells you, I am not enough, or excessive criticism. Anger, jealousy, envy, discontent. You look for happiness outside of self. Why? Because you're taught that yourself is not good. Hopelessness, which then leads to despair, and then suicide. So all of these are effects. So you guys don't end up committing suicide yourselves. I'm going to skip around a little bit. Let me give you all some hope. So we have 3 different things that tell us that we're not enough. 3 different categories. 1, your first category, it's going to be popularity. How popular am I? Do I feel enough around people? 2 is possessions. What do I have? I try to work really hard, make a ton of money, so that I can buy expensive things. And that will make me feel adequate. 3, performance. If you sit down with yourself, you'll find that there is something, some parts of your life where you're trying extremely hard to a point it doesn't even make sense. Why am I trying so much? And you'll see that there's a theme of performance. Because I get validation from how well I do. Type. If I am broken and damaged like this, what is the solution? There is hope. Can I have somebody volunteer to read?
Calling the disciples, Matthew 4:18 through 20. One day, as Jesus was walking along the shore of the Sea of Galilee, he saw 2 brothers, Peter and Andrew, throwing a net into the water, for they fished for a living. Jesus called out to them, "Come follow me, and I will show you how to fish for people." And they left their nets at once and followed him. A little farther up the shore, he saw 2 other brothers, James and John, sitting in a boat with their father, repairing their nets, and he called to them to come too.
Okay, so the wording that Christ uses always very important, and it ties back to the culture. 1, he says, "Come follow me." Why? It's a very technical term. Back then, when you were in school to become a rabbi, you would graduate and you were tested. Okay. You were tested over your ability to memorize the Torah, the first 5 books of the Bible, upon graduation. If you were able to recite it, you got the chance to interview with a rabbi. If the rabbi liked you, you became his student. And he would pick you how? He would tell you, "Come follow me." If you didn't make it, you would then go to the board or whatever of all the other rabbis that didn't choose students, and you would go and tell them, "I want to be your student." If they chose you, they would only pick the top. They would tell you, "Come and follow me." If you weren't chosen, what did you do? What happens if you weren't chosen to be a disciple? Huh? Anything? You're forced to go work in your parents' profession. Where did he find them? Huh? Yeah? Did you guys read the wrong one? Did I tell you to read the wrong one? So the disciples were with their father. James and John were sitting in a boat with their father, repairing their nets. James and John were unwanted by all the rabbis. Nobody wanted them. And yet Jesus picks them. The next person he picks is Matthew, the tax collector. And to be a tax collector was like the worst of the worst. Why? Because you were a traitor to your people. You worked with the Romans, and you would steal money from the taxes. You would increase, and you would be very cruel, to the point that people believed that God would not forgive a tax collector, and that God was happy when they died. And he picks Matthew. What? Next person he picks is Simon the Zealot, who carried a dagger with him. You would carry this dagger in case you found a Roman soldier that was alone. If you found them, you would take out your dagger and you would kill them. Or if you found a tax collector, and yet Jesus picks them. These are the people he picks. And so he constantly tells us, regardless of what you believe about yourself, the shame that you carry, no matter what you go through, you are still enough. So today we talked mainly about the issues of what causes us to not feel enough. God willing, next time I come, we'll talk about how to feel enough, how to embrace that. Any questions? Anybody want to tell us a joke? No? All right.
Hi guys, can you hear me? Yes, maybe, kind of. All right, yeah. Well, thank you, Bola. That was awesome. Hopefully you're gonna come back and teach us how to be full. Me and Caleb are gonna play a game of charades now, and he's gonna explain. He's gonna explain the rules, cause I don't.
All right, cool. We're going to play one last game before we go downstairs, but before that, you guys want to hear a joke? Yes? All right, it's a dad joke, so please don't bully me afterwards, but what do you call an American bee? What do you call an American bee?
American B?
No, a USB. Get it?
Okay, next.
Okay. If you guys want to hear more dad jokes, just, come reach out. Okay, we're going to divide you guys into two groups. Group two will be in the back. Group one will be over here. So it's charades. So your group will choose someone to go up here, and then we'll give you a topic, and you will reenact the topic. So that's how it goes. Nardine, if you want to go around and assign them, I guess this latter half could be group two, and group one will be back here.
All right, look.